Are we live? Are we on?
It's redirecting right now.
All right. I think it's on. Are you ready to kick this off or what?
Yeah, I think so. Looks like we are officially live.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Well, welcome everybody. For those of you who are tuning in now, or if you're tuning in later, we're going to send this out to all of our trusted clients, friends and family. Reed and I, Roots Home Sales Team, Remax Alliance, wanted to give a little bit of update of what we're seeing here in the real estate marketplace during this time of COVID-19, which has had a great impact, of course, on the health of the world, on the economy of the world, and how it's impacting us locally here in the Denver metro area. So first of all, hope all of you out there are doing okay. You and your friends and family are healthy and safe. That's the first thing we want to wish for everybody, is that you are staying safe and healthy during this time. And yeah, we've never lived anything like this before, right? And certainly I don't think our parents have either, from speaking with them. And so unprecedented time, but we're all adapting, and I think making the best of it with what we have. And so today we're not going to give any health updates, as I'm sure everybody can get those from the news outlets. We're not experts in that area. We're going to give you updates on how it's impacting the real estate market here in Denver metro area. So basically, Reed's going to start out by giving us some data on the supply and the demand in our market, what we're seeing, what we saw in the month of March. And obviously we don't have all of the data from April, but that will certainly be different since the stay-at-home order went into place at the end of March. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about what this means for home buyers in our marketplace. And then Reed will talk about the other side of the table, what it means for those of you who are looking to sell your home or currently have your home on the market, and how it impacts you. And then we're just going to probably wrap it up by talking about the future of, once COVID-19 passes, hopefully sooner than later, what is our life going to look like? I mean, I'm certain, it won't be going back to normal. Things are certainly going to change. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that and that impact on residential real estate. So this is our first live YouTube, and also our first YouTube using safe distance measures, being on a Zoom call. And so Reed, thanks for setting this up for us. And I know you have some screen share capabilities over there. So can you start out by doing that, and just, I guess, give it also your own intro and tell us what you're gonna touch on with the market today.
Yeah, sure thing, Robin. So thanks for kicking this off there, and thanks for everybody for tuning in, and take a little bit of time out of your day to hopefully get some good information here from us. Number one, obviously, we hope that you and your family and your friends are safe and healthy, sane as well. Robin and I have been adjusting as well, the whole Roots Home Sales team. We've got our little co-workers at our homes these days. My co-worker, Emerson, she likes to eat things off the floor. She likes to unpack all the boxes that we have all over the place because we just moved. And, I think everybody's going through an adjustment. So we're right here with you, and we're going to share some good information with you. I'm going to start out with some statistics here from the month of March, and pull those up for you guys. These stats are all from the from DMAR, Denver Metro Association of Realtors. And, this is really helpful because it's going to give us a snapshot in this first column, as you can see right here, of what we were doing last March in 2019 and where those numbers are in 2020 corresponding. So the first thing to look at right here is active listings, this first row. As you can see, in March 2019, we had about 11,000 active listings. Currently here in March 2020, we only have 8,500. That's down 22.5%. And I think that's very significant, obviously, and it really shows the supply demand factor that we see in our marketplace here, and that there still are way fewer homes on the market available than there are buyers out there who are willing to view them and purchase them. I think that looking at this, you got to take it into context and then bring it down to this third row, which is the new listings in March of this year. And as you can see, last year there were 7,500-ish new listings. This year that number's up to 8,100. So why the discrepancy there? You know, we've got far less active listings, but we do have more new listings on the market in the month of March. I think that speaks to COVID directly and how it's impacted the marketplace, in that some sellers have elected to withdraw their listings. This figure isn't listed here on the DMAR report, but I believe that that number was in the 700s in terms of listings that were withdrawn from the market in the month of March. So those are people that went on market, and for some reason or another, they decided to take their listing off the market. We have some of those clients ourselves as well. So, you know, I think that speaks to the times. In terms of under contracts, line number 2 right here, you can see that in March 2019, we had about 6,500 under contract. This year, March 2020, that number is right about 6,100, so down 6.4%. Pretty much you can see that we have a healthy marketplace. People still are transacting, and we're in the month of March. I would expect these numbers in the month of April to probably decrease a little bit because, you know, the month of March started out pretty strong, and then we started to receive some more of this press and, you know, obviously more social distancing requirements, more restrictions on how we do business and essential businesses. In regards to sold listings, line number 4 right here, you'll see that we're pretty much right on point. 5,500-ish in the month of March last year, another 5,500 this year. So we're pretty much right on par with what we've done. Days on market, the next line down, is basically the same as well. And then some interesting points here is median sales price. March 2019 was at 404. That's gone up to 435 this year. So 7.7% increase in that median sales price. That also speaks to supply and demand. And although it's not that 10 or 12% that we have been seeing, homes are still appreciating in the Denver metro area, you know, across the board. And we're seeing that here in the stats. Once again, you go down to average sales price. 466 last year and up to 501 the first time it's crested the 500 mark, and that's up 7.4%. So we still definitely are experiencing some of the same metrics that we have been. Supply is lower than demand, and you know, although we might see a little bit of a reduction in the number of under contracts, solds, and new listings in the month of April, you know, here in the Denver metro area, as you guys know, real estate is a local thing, and we're locally still a pretty darn strong market. So what we're going to do next is we're going to throw this over to Robin, and Robin's going to kind of chat with you guys about what this means to buyers and how you as a buyer can, you know, probably plan your purchase, and also hopefully you get some of the implications of COVID for those buyers who are thinking about that. So Robin, why don't you chat a little bit about that?
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for sharing that data, Reed. I think there's, you know, a lot of people have fear and maybe are acting out of fear generally when these pandemics come. And I'm speaking economically solely when I mention acting out of fear. You know, I think we all have to obviously be safe, protect ourselves, but the market is still strong. And I think that is important to know moving forward, you know, 4 or 5 months from here, how once all this passes, hopefully, you know, when life goes back to new normal, what it's going to look like. The demand is still high. The supply is still low in Denver, and that has not changed, especially with, you know, over 500 homes coming off the market last month due to COVID-19. So for home buyers, you know, people who are considering buying right now, we are helping some clients, and it's every day we're adapting because there are new rules and new laws coming down. with how we can participate in real estate as an essential activity and which parts are considered non-essential activities. So last week, the Attorney General in Colorado sent a mandate basically saying that a lot of the activities in real estate are no longer considered essential, and that included inspections, which is an important part of a home buyer doing their diligence on the property that they're under contract to purchase, right? So that created a lot of confusion, obviously, in our market, and a lot of questions were being circulated with our managing brokers and the Colorado Association of Realtors. And then we finally got some clarity towards the end of last week, and the Department of Regulatory Agencies sent a more clear mandate with how we can serve our clients in this climate of COVID-19. And so for home buyers, what it comes down to is showing homes and open houses are really showing homes in person are no longer considered essential activities. Now, once you're under contract, there's a contract in place to purchase that home, then the home buyer can do all of their diligence to carry out that contract to the closing, and that is considered essential. So yes, home inspections are now allowed. Appraisals are now allowed. And of course, this is all adhering to the measures laid out by the Center of Disease Control, so keeping that 6 feet of distance, using gloves, using masks. And so that is all still expected and really required in order for home inspectors to be doing their job. And but what does that mean for you as a buyer? Well, you're not going to be able to get into the home before writing the offer if you really need to buy a home here in the next month. A month or two, however long this order goes. So what we're seeing is the real estate industry is, of course, adapting in how to show homes. So one method that we're seeing, and of course it takes good cooperation from all parties involved, is the seller and the listing agent jumping on a Zoom call, just like Reed and I are on right here with the buyer and the buyer's agent, and they're doing a walkthrough of the home. And the buyer or the buyer's agent can say, wait, can you go back, take a look at that? So we've seen that, starting to get put into practice by listing agents and buyer's agents. Another way is, of course, it takes communication between the buyer's agent and the listing agent to understand if there is a seller in the home. If they don't want showings, totally fine, but that's really the best way to get their home out there, or to do a virtual tour. Some companies out there like Matterport, Virtuins offer these virtual tours where the home buyer can go in and it's like they're walking through the home on their computer. And that's kind of where the future of real estate is going. Of course, you can't get in there, actually get a feel for the place or smell the place, if there are cats, etc. So that is one thing that the home buyer will have to take a little bit of a risk, but the seller's also taking a risk with accepting an offer from somebody who hasn't physically been in their home. It's a sight unseen offer. And so creating a contingency in the contract where the buyer can go see the home in the first couple days. Of course we want to move forward, or going to see the home with the inspection. And we recommend, scheduling that inspection right away. So we can really get the home buyer in there in a safe way, in a safe method, using masks and gloves, and using the distance protocols as well. So obviously that's impacting home buyers and sellers with these new measures, but also what are mortgage rates doing? So the lending industry is changing nonstop, and I'm not a lender. Reed and I are not lenders, so we're not going to give you too many tips here, but we will say that it's constantly changing, and that currently underwriters or banks are requiring that home buyers have their employment verified up to the day of closing, because people may lose their job the day after they close on a property and they can no longer make a mortgage payment. Of course, the bank doesn't want that. So that's why the bank is verifying employment up to day of closing, or sometimes within a day or two. And that also relies on the HR department of that buyer's company, which may not get back in 24 to 48 hours, or due to COVID, they have a lot of other things on their plate. And so what we're seeing is that now sellers are, holding back that possession deadline after closing, and saying, hey, we're not giving you possession until we get the funding to close on this home, which makes sense. So we're seeing possession dates go, 3 or 4 days post closing to be pretty standard if the buyer's lender is requiring that employment verification. So that's another thing that is changing in the mortgage industry. The rates have kind of settled back down. They're around 3.5 now. They were jumping all over the place a couple weeks ago. But we would recommend, if you are in the process or looking to start the process of buying a home within the next month or two, be in constant contact with your realtor, with your lender to, be up to date with any changes that could be coming down the pipeline. So yeah, that's kind of how it's impacting home buyers in today's marketplace. And on the other side of the table, Reed, I know you're working with some sellers and you've been having to kind of keep them abreast of what their options are and what their risks are of putting the home on the market during this time. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, thanks a bunch, Robin. So with the seller side of things, just like Robin had mentioned, things have been changing, on a daily basis. And, what we're here to do is provide you guys the most up-to-date information and to provide you good consultation so that you can make educated decisions on what's best for you and your family. So really, one of the first things that, sellers ask me about is timing. Should I put my house on the market now? Should I wait a month, 2 months, or, what should I do as a seller? And I always say that it's really dependent on your specific situation and what you and your family need. Real estate has been classified as an essential business because some people absolutely have to move, whether it's a job change or whether it's, an economic thing, whatever it might be. There are those out there that do need to move, and, it doesn't matter what's going on elsewhere in the country. They just have some reasons that they need to make it happen. So we're leaving it up to our sellers as to whether they do want to bring their home on the market or not. But some considerations to make. Typically, given that we have been, basically restricted from doing in-person showings, that's really the best place where you're going to find the majority of your buyers is by them setting a showing through their realtor who has access to the MLS. That's where the majority of transactions happen. And so that does restrict the number of people that may see your home. So I have some sellers with a vacant home, and we're using some new marketing techniques in which we're able to really showcase their home to its full capacity. And in those situations, it's a little bit easier to market the home and keep it on market during these times. For those people that are owner-occupying their home, it can be a little bit more difficult because at the end of the day, a great number of agents are adhering to the recommendations that we've received, and the mandate that we've received actually, from the Division of Real Estate. And that being said, they're not going to have as many showings in this marketplace as they would in a traditional marketplace. So the overall, message that we want to deliver to you guys is, if you're thinking about selling or you're in the process of, preparing to sell, reach out to us or your trusted agent, and let's have a conversation about what might work best for you. Some of the things that we've been doing for all of our listings coming up is virtual tours, because if we can't get people in the house directly, then we want to have the best representation possible out there online. So Robin had mentioned Matterport. That's basically a really, really cool technology in which homeowners or buyers, potential buyers, can look at the home virtually. So they click into different rooms in the home. They manipulate where their view is, where the room is, and they can essentially see the floor plan, the flow, the space. There's a measuring tool in there where they can measure, how wide is it from the countertop to the island, those kinds of things. And then you can also zoom out and see like a dollhouse view of that. So you can imagine, your child's dollhouse, you can see the, cut out version of that and where the rooms are located. So that's one of the tools that we're using for all of our sellers at this point is the Matterport tour. And that's a very helpful and useful tool as we're using these virtual marketing techniques. For single family detached homes, especially, drone photography has been a great tool that we consider using for our clients. So, it's an aerial view of the home where it's located on the lot. You get a little bit of a representation of the neighborhood, the orientation of the home, and all those kinds of things. So rest assured, here at the Roots Home Sales team, we are definitely changing with the times and trying to provide you guys as much value as possible as a seller so that you can get that best price for your home in the timeline that you're looking at. Another thing that sellers are asking is, what's the market right now? Like, is it still a good time to sell? As we saw in the stats, there is still a very short supply of homes in comparison to the demand of buyers out there. So yeah, it is a good time to sell if your personal situation allows for it. There are certain situations in, different neighborhoods and depending on your price point where we're still even seeing multiple offer situations. There are other places and neighborhoods in the metro area where maybe it's a little bit slower and maybe it does make sense to wait and list until, the restrictions of the social isolation have passed. It is still a seller's market. There's no doubt about that. Another big thing is that we help our clients with on the sell side is when we receive an offer, we really help them to triage that offer and make sure that we understand not only what the price and terms of the offer are, but also who's involved on the buyer side. Who have they selected as their lender? How experienced is their agent? Because these are all things that come into play to minimize your risk as a seller when going under contract with a buyer. One of the things that has really changed is the lending industry. And, we've had some situations recently in which we were representing a seller and the buyer had a lender that was not super experienced. And they were actually a broker. So there were 2 layers of underwriting to the deal. And essentially, they didn't have as much direct control over the process and the approval of the loan. And what we've seen with our market changing is that a lot of investors that brokers are, essentially selling these loans to have required additional overlays or requirements for the loan to be approved. Some of those could be even included, like, buyer must show 6 months of reserves in order to qualify for the loan, things like that. So when we receive an offer and we're representing a seller, we're going to call that lender up and we're going to ask them all the applicable questions to get a good grasp of what, how savvy they are in regards to, the changes that COVID has, made in our marketplace, and how much control of this lending process do they truly have, and how experienced are they? Because as a seller, once you go under contract with a buyer, there are very few ways in which you can exit that contract. So we want to make sure that we minimize the risk of you going under contract with a buyer and ensure that we're going under contract with somebody that's going to be able to perform and get their loan approved. I think the one of the last things I want to discuss is your replacement home. So one of the most important things for a seller is where are we going to go once we sell this house? And if we need to purchase our next house with a loan, let's really make sure that you're going to be approved for that loan with all these changes in the lending business right now. So, some of the things that we've been discussing is, job security. Obviously, that's one of the biggest risks for a seller who goes under contract on their home. They want to make sure that their job is secure so that they're going to get approved for their loan. And then, as Robin referenced, when they do that verification of employment on the day of closing for your purchase, that you're still employed and you're able to close on that loan. So that's just a discussion to have with your realtor and us as we go through the process. And it's always one of our biggest check marks to make is let's make sure we have a really strong plan for you to get the right replacement home and to feel secure doing so. That's kind of what we got going on the seller side of things. Everything is changing, daily, weekly, that kind of stuff. So Robin and I are planning on periodically doing some updates like this. So stay tuned. And then reach out to us. We're here for you. We're here to just have a conversation, via Zoom, via phone, have a cup of coffee, cocktail if it's later in the day, whatever it might be. And we just want to provide you good information so you can make educated decisions, moving forward with your housing goals.
Awesome. Yeah, good information, Reed. Thanks for providing that. And it's certainly a lot for home sellers, homeowners that are looking to downsize or upgrade during this time. I think most people are doing it only when they have to, but it's still possible. As Reed mentioned, there's still ways to do it. And we're looking to mitigate the risks health-wise, but also on the real estate side, economically speaking as well. And really, some people have been asking, what's the future of this? Where is this going? I think, the economy is going to be changing. There's not going to be going back to the normal of pre-COVID-19, in my opinion. I'm not sure how you feel, Reed, but I really think that certain businesses may start realizing, maybe we don't need this overhead of this commercial real estate, or of this office space. So that impacts commercial real estate is where I was going with that. Like we're able to cut our overhead, and our productivity with our employees was virtually the same by using Slack or by using Zoom or any of the technologies that some of these small businesses are fortunate enough to be able to leverage and keep their productivity up. And so I think that might be where some of this is heading. And how does that really impact the residential market? Well, I think in the next coming years, we're going to start seeing home buyers starting to look for that extra space in the home, for a gym, for an office space, that they can work from home. Can they convert that third bedroom into an office where they can work from home and be home with the family more, where they don't have to drive to work as often? I think there is going to be some silver lining coming out of this, and we have to really look at the silver lining and how can we adapt to be better as workforce, as humans overall. I certainly miss going out and just meeting with friends, having some food or having a drink, and I don't think we could take that for granted moving forward, and just our health in general. Especially with our parents or grandparents, who are quarantined and we're not able to see them. So this has a greater impact than just real estate. And I hope you all know that we understand that. But where we can really focus our competency level is how it impacts real estate. And I think you're going to be seeing a lot more demand for that extra room moving forward in real estate. So just something to keep in mind. And I don't know, do you have anything else to add, Reed, before we sign off on this one?
Yeah, I think that just like everything else in life, some speed bumps may come along, and we're right there with you guys. We're adjusting, we're learning every day, and we're just trying to get better and better to better serve our clients, to be a source of good information, and to ultimately protect you, your largest investment, which is your real estate, and help you to achieve your goals. So anytime, please reach out to us, regardless of what you need. As you guys know, we have relationships with our clients that far, surpass just a real estate basis. We care about you guys. We're here for you. If you need anything, please reach out, and we'll be in touch. Hang in there, and we look forward to getting to see you guys all in person here once this passes.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, thanks, Reed. Thanks for organizing this, and let's do it again soon. We'll have some more info and updates for everybody. So we'd love to hear your feedback. For those of you who are watching this, please let us know any information that we didn't cover, or if you want us to go more in depth on something, please, we'd love to hear your feedback.
Yeah, make sure that you comment, below, message us, hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, email, good old-fashioned telephone. We're here for you guys.
Awesome.
Take care.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.